Konnichiwa. Thank you for visiting my site. My name is Kayoko Yoshikai. Health is found in nature is my favorite saying. Today I'd like to introduce Giles' skydiving challenge he went through. What was your most challenging experience you had?
Yeah, it was very challenging, the early days of learning to skysurf, and there was a group of us that wanted to learn to skysurf in a group, which was incredibly challenging, a lot of fun though. Early making skysurfing boards was not without problems. I mean, I always remember we used to make our own boards out of wood we got from the local lumber store. And some of them worked and some of them maybe didn't work as well as they could. It can be very challenging when you learn to skysurf for the first time, because there you are with this board strapped to your feet. You're by the door of the aeroplane, it's very noisy. One of the things about having something strapped to you is when you open your parachute, there's a very real danger of your parachute becoming entangled with the board, which was obviously something that was always in the back of our minds. When it came to opening your parachute, I can remember being very, very, very concerned that I actually had a board strapped to my feet that could entangle with the parachute and potentially do a lot of damage. So we were very focused, very scared and very creative in the early years for sure.
Did you jump in bad weathers?
Let's just say that there were times when the weather conditions were somewhat challenging.
Tell us more.
Well, it can be very scary if you jump in high winds. There's nothing worse than opening your parachute only to find you're going backwards into trees or fences, or even worse, towards power lines. That's something that I'm sure any skydiver would have as their own personal nightmare. Jumping in conditions where it's windy or rainy or cloudy are just downright not smart.
Out of that several thousand jumps, you must have quite a few malfunction.
You know, I was very, very lucky in my entire jumping career. I really only ever had one problem. I can remember it clearly. I was in Spain. I'd done probably 2,000 or 3,000 jumps before it even happened, and I looked up to find out that my parachute wasn't properly open. To many non-skydivers this sounds like an absolute nightmare, but to skydivers, because you've practiced again and again and again in your mind, it actually felt quite normal and quite commonplace. I looked up, realised my parachute wasn't open. I put my hand on what's called the release handle. I released the parachute, watched it sail away and went back into free fall, and pulled my reserve parachute, which, like I said before, for many people, non-skydivers, seems like a very stressful situation, but we practice emergency procedures again and again and again, that it was really quite uneventful.
Did you start jumping with round canopy?
I did. I've got to put my hand up now and say I did start jumping with some very, very old round parachutes. The one thing about round parachutes is they're entirely silent. But yeah, I was jumping with parachutes that were built in the 50s and the 60s, when sex was safe and skydiving was dangerous.
Please join us for third segment, Overcoming Fear of Skydiving and Mindset. Thank you for visiting my site, kayokoyoshikai.com.